Dark Triad, How to Spot and Destroy Narcissists, Machiavellians, and Psychopaths, Stoic Guide. Welcome to Dark Stoic. Today we explore the shadows that walk among us. We're diving deep into the Dark Triad, the three most dangerous personality types you will ever encounter: the narcissist, the Machiavellian, and the psychopath. You will learn how to identify them, understand their tactics, and most importantly, how to protect yourself and systematically dismantle their power over your life using ancient Stoic wisdom. Let's begin. There is a certain kind of person who moves through this world differently. They smile when others smile. They say the right words at the right moments. They charm their way into your life, your trust, your heart. But behind their eyes, there is nothing. No empathy, no remorse, no genuine human connection, only calculation, only hunger. The ancient Stoics understood this. They lived in a world filled with political manipulation, betrayal, and human darkness. Emperors were poisoned by their own families. Philosophers were exiled by jealous rivals. Trust was a currency that could bankrupt you if spent on the wrong person. Seneca wrote, "We are deceived by the appearance of right." He understood that evil rarely announces itself. It wears a mask of virtue. It speaks the language of love and loyalty while plotting your destruction. This is the Dark Triad. And if you do not learn to recognize it, you will become its victim. Part 1. Understanding the Dark Triad. The Dark Triad is a psychological framework that identifies three distinct but overlapping personality types: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. These are not merely character flaws or bad habits. They represent fundamental distortions in how a person relates to other human beings. Let me be clear about something. Everyone you meet has some degree of these traits. A healthy amount of self-interest keeps you alive. Strategic thinking helps you navigate complex social situations. The ability to make tough decisions without being paralyzed by emotion can be a strength. But there is a threshold. When these traits become dominant, when they define a person's entire approach to existence, you are no longer dealing with a flawed human being. You are dealing with a predator. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, spent his entire life surrounded by such people. In his private journal, which we now call Meditations, he wrote, "Begin each day by telling yourself, 'Today, I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness.'" He was not being pessimistic. He was being realistic. He was preparing himself mentally for the darkness he would inevitably encounter. Part 2. The Narcissist Unveiled. The narcissist operates on a fundamental lie that they are special, superior, and entitled to admiration and resources that others must provide. But here is the truth they cannot face, the wound at the core of their being. Deep down, they feel worthless. Their entire existence is a desperate attempt to escape this feeling through external validation. How do you spot a narcissist? Watch for the grandiose self-image. They speak of themselves in exaggerated terms. Their achievements are always magnificent. Their problems are always someone else's fault. They name drop constantly. They compare themselves favorably to others at every opportunity. Listen for the lack of genuine interest in you. A narcissist will ask about your life, but watch their eyes. They glaze over when you speak. They redirect every conversation back to themselves. Your successes make them uncomfortable. Your struggles bore them unless they can use those struggles to feel superior. Notice the reaction to criticism. Even the mildest feedback triggers rage or cold withdrawal. The narcissist experiences criticism as an existential threat. They will gaslight you, telling you that you misremember, that you're being too sensitive, that the problem is your perception. Seneca observed, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Nothing wastes your precious time on this earth more than feeding a narcissist's endless hunger for validation. You could pour your entire life into them and they would still demand more. They are a void that cannot be filled. The narcissist's tactics are predictable once you understand them. Love bombing at the beginning, overwhelming you with attention and affection. Then the devaluation begins, subtle put-downs designed to make you work harder to please them. Finally, the discard, when they have extracted what they need or found a new supply. But they often circle back, hoovering you back into their orbit when their current supply runs dry. Part 3. The Machiavellian Mind. The Machiavellian is perhaps the most purely strategic of the three types. Named after Niccolò Machiavelli, the Renaissance political philosopher who wrote The Prince, these individuals view human relationships as a chess game where other people are pieces to be moved. Unlike the narcissist, who craves admiration, the Machiavellian craves power. They may not need you to love them, they need you to be useful. How do you spot a Machiavellian? They are masters of information asymmetry. They learn everything about you while revealing almost nothing genuine about themselves. What they do share is calculated, designed to create a specific impression or manipulate your emotions. Watch how they treat people who can do nothing for them. The Machiavellian has different faces for different audiences. They charm those above them, manipulate those beside them, and disregard or abuse those below them. If you see this pattern, you are witnessing a Machiavellian in action. They think long-term. While most people react emotionally to immediate situations, the Machiavellian is playing a longer game. They can absorb short-term losses if it positions them for greater gains. This makes them patient, dangerous, and difficult to anticipate. Epictetus taught, "If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, 'He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone.'" This is powerful Stoic armor against Machiavellian manipulation. When you no longer fear what others think or say about you, the Machiavellian loses one of their primary weapons, reputation destruction. The Machiavellian will often create conflicts between people, then position themselves as the mediator or the ally to both sides. They spread strategic rumors. They give you information about what others supposedly said about you. This triangulation keeps everyone off balance and dependent on the Machiavellian for guidance and support. Part 4. The Psychopath's Empty Core. The psychopath is the most chilling of the three. While the narcissist is wounded and the Machiavellian is strategic, the psychopath is fundamentally different. They lack the basic emotional equipment that makes us human. Psychopaths do not experience anxiety, fear, or remorse the way normal people do. They can lie while hooked up to a polygraph and pass. They can destroy someone's life and sleep peacefully that night. It is not that they suppress their conscience, they simply don't have one. How do you spot a psychopath? Look for the superficial charm. Psychopaths are often extremely charismatic. They are entertaining, confident, and engaging. But this charm has a quality that feels slightly performative once you know what to look for. It's too smooth, too practiced. Notice the inconsistencies in their life story. Psychopaths lie constantly, and while they're skilled at it, they often cannot keep track of their own fabrications. If you pay attention, you'll catch contradictions. Observe their emotional reactions. When something genuinely sad or moving occurs, watch their face. There's often a split-second delay before they produce the appropriate expression. They're watching others to know how they should react, then mimicking. Watch for the predatory stare. Many people report feeling uncomfortable under a psychopath's gaze even before they consciously recognize the danger. Trust this instinct. Your brain is processing threat signals before your conscious mind catches up. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize?" This is wise counsel for most human relationships. But when dealing with a psychopath, this introspection becomes a trap. The psychopath will exploit your willingness to examine your own faults. They will convince you that their cruelty is somehow your fault, that you provoked it, that you deserve it. With a psychopath, self-reflection must wait until you are safely away from their influence. Part 5. The overlap and amplification. Here's what makes the Dark Triad truly terrifying. These traits often occur together, and they amplify each other. A narcissist, who is also Machiavellian, has the grandiose self-image combined with strategic cunning. They will pursue positions of power not just for admiration, but for control. They build empires of manipulation. A Machiavellian with psychopathic traits has strategic thinking combined with zero emotional constraints. They can plan and execute devastating schemes without any internal resistance from guilt or empathy. A psychopath with narcissistic traits believes they deserve to exploit others because they are superior. Their lack of conscience is justified in their minds by their grandiosity. When all three traits are present at high levels, you have what some researchers call the malignant narcissist, or the dark tetrad, when sadism is added. These individuals are the most dangerous people you will ever encounter. They destroy careers, families, organizations, and lives. Some of them destroy nations. Seneca warned, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach." The Dark Triad individual cannot be improved. They have no genuine desire for growth because they cannot see themselves clearly. You cannot save them. You can only save yourself. Part 6. Stoic Strategies for Protection. Now we turn to the crucial question: how do you protect yourself from these individuals? The Stoics developed practical wisdom for navigating a world filled with dangerous people. This wisdom is your shield. Strategy 1. Emotional independence. Epictetus taught, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." Dark Triad individuals gain power through your emotional dependence. If you need their approval, their love, or their validation, you are vulnerable. The Stoic practice of identifying what is truly within your control, your own thoughts, judgments, and actions, creates a fortress they cannot breach. You do not control whether a narcissist values you. You do not control whether a Machiavellian includes you in their schemes. You do not control whether a psychopath targets you, but you control how you respond. You control whether you give them the reactions they seek. Strategy 2. The discipline of assent. Before accepting any impression, any emotional trigger, any interpretation of events, pause. The Stoics called this the discipline of assent. When a Dark Triad individual says something designed to hurt you, to confuse you, to destabilize your sense of reality, you do not immediately accept their framing. You examine. You ask, is this true? Is this useful? Is this within my control? Gaslighting only works if you assent to the false reality being presented. The Stoic practice of questioning your impressions is the antidote. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When you internalize this truth, the manipulations of the Dark Triad become powerless. They can say whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. Your inner citadel remains unconquered. Strategy 3. Strategic withdrawal. The Stoics were not naive. They understood that sometimes the only winning move is not to play. Seneca survived the court of Nero, one of history's most notorious examples of psychopathic leadership. He did so by strategic withdrawal, maintaining his inner philosophy while outwardly complying with demands for self-preservation. Eventually, he was forced to take his own life, but he did so with dignity, having protected his soul even while his body was under the emperor's power. When you identify a Dark Triad individual, begin planning your withdrawal. Reduce contact. Limit the information you share. Create distance systematically. Do not announce your intentions. Do not confront them unless absolutely necessary. Simply fade from their orbit. Strategy 4. Document everything. This is practical wisdom the Stoics would have approved of. Dark Triad individuals lie. They rewrite history. They will claim things never happened or that events occurred differently than you remember. Keep records, save messages, note dates and witnesses. When dealing with these individuals in professional or legal contexts, documentation is your protection against their distortions. Strategy 5. Build your support network. Machiavellians isolate their targets. They damage your other relationships to increase your dependence on them. Counter this by actively maintaining and strengthening your connections with trustworthy people. The Stoics valued true friendship highly. Seneca wrote, "One of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood." A Dark Triad individual will never truly understand you because they cannot. Genuine human connection is your reminder of what real relationships feel like. It inoculates you against the manipulation. Part 7. Destroying their power. Now we come to the darkest part of our discussion. How do you not merely protect yourself, but dismantle the power of these individuals? Let me be clear about what I mean by destroy. We are not talking about revenge. The Stoics understood that revenge is a poison you drink hoping the other person dies. It chains you to your enemy. What we are talking about is the systematic dismantling of their ability to harm you and others. This is not cruelty, it is justice. The Gray Rock Method. Dark Triad individuals feed on emotional reactions. Your fear, your anger, your love, your pain, these are all supply. The Gray Rock Method involves becoming as boring and unresponsive as a gray rock. When you must interact with them, give short, factual answers. Show no emotion. offer no personal information, provide nothing they can use as ammunition. Narcissists will escalate initially, trying to provoke the reaction they crave, hold firm. Eventually, they will seek easier supply elsewhere. Machiavellians will recognize they cannot manipulate someone who gives them nothing to work with. They will redirect their schemes toward more responsive targets. Psychopaths will lose interest in prey that provides no sport. Exposure with evidence. Dark Triad individuals rely on their mask. They cultivate public images that contradict their private behavior. When you have documented evidence of their true nature, strategic exposure can destroy their power base. But be careful. Do not expose without proof. Do not expose emotionally. Do not expose in ways that make you look unhinged. Present facts calmly, without editorializing. Let the evidence speak. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In exposing a Dark Triad individual, you must maintain your own integrity. You are not becoming like them. You are shining light into darkness. System-level intervention. When Dark Triad individuals hold organizational power, individual action may not be enough. Document patterns of behavior, identify others who have been harmed. Present your case to those with authority, whether that's HR, leadership, law enforcement, or the court of public opinion. There is strength in numbers. Machiavellians especially fear collective action because it disrupts their divide and conquer tactics. The ultimate victory: indifference. Here is the deepest Stoic truth about destroying Dark Triad individuals. The ultimate victory is indifference. When you reach the point where their existence no longer disturbs your peace, when their opinion holds no weight, when you can observe their machinations with the dispassionate interest of a naturalist observing a predator in its habitat, you have won completely. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The Dark Triad individual has taken your time, your trust, perhaps your resources or reputation, but they cannot take your inner freedom. They cannot take your capacity for genuine love and connection. They cannot take your ability to grow, to learn, to become stronger from the experience. When you embody this indifference, you become invisible to them. You are no longer supply, no longer a useful chess piece, no longer interesting prey. You have transcended their game entirely. Part 8. The larger perspective. Let us step back and view this through the widest Stoic lens. The Dark Triad exists. It has always existed. It will always exist. These patterns of human behavior are woven into our nature, distortions of traits that in moderate forms serve survival purposes. Marcus Aurelius, ruling an empire of 50 million people, dealing daily with plotters and sycophants, wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." But here is the critical second part of his teaching. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own. Even the Dark Triad individual shares our human nature. They are distorted, broken expressions of it, but human nonetheless. This does not mean you must accept abuse. It does not mean you cannot defend yourself. It does not mean you cannot expose evil when necessary. It means you do not lose your own humanity in the process. You do not become what you fight. Seneca wrote, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. Perhaps not to the Dark Triad individual directly, as they will only exploit it, but to their victims, to those they have damaged, to yourself. The kindness you cultivate in response to encountering evil is your ultimate victory over it. Part 9. The Practical Application. Let me leave you with concrete guidance. If you suspect someone in your life is Dark Triad, gather information. Observe patterns over time. Do not confront them with your suspicions. This only alerts them to manage their mask more carefully around you. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. The discomfort you feel around certain people is data. Do not dismiss it to be polite or reasonable. Protect your vulnerabilities. The things you are insecure about, the mistakes you've made, your hopes and fears, these are weapons in Dark Triad hands. Share them only with people who have proven themselves trustworthy over time. Create exit strategies. Whether it's a romantic relationship, a job, a friendship, or a family dynamic, know how you would leave if necessary. Practical preparation reduces the power they hold over you. Seek professional support. Therapists who specialize in narcissistic abuse, psychopathy, or manipulation can provide guidance tailored to your specific situation. There is no weakness in seeking help. And remember the core Stoic practice. Focus on what you control. You cannot control their behavior, but you can control your response. You cannot make them change, but you can change your relationship to them. You cannot undo the past, but you can shape your future. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Live well, grow from the experience, become wiser, stronger, more discerning. Let your flourishing be the response to their attempted destruction. Conclusion. The Dark Triad will always be with us. In every generation, in every organization, in every family, there are those who operate by manipulation, exploitation, and emotional predation. The Stoics faced them in ancient Rome. You face them today. Your descendants will face them in whatever world they inherit. But the wisdom to recognize them, the strength to resist them, and the discipline to protect yourself, this is also eternal. It is your birthright as a thinking, reasoning human being. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." Every encounter with Dark Triad individuals, painful as it may be, is an opportunity to develop strength you did not know you possessed. Every manipulation you see through builds your discernment. Every boundary you enforce builds your self-respect. You are not a victim. You are a student of human nature, learning its darkest lessons so that you may live in light. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher on the throne, faced assassination plots, betrayals, and the constant company of those who sought to use him. Yet he wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, and do so with all your heart." He did not mean love the manipulators. He meant love those who are worthy of love, and love wisely. Recognize the difference between those who deserve your open heart and those who would exploit it. This is the path of the Dark Stoic. Clear-eyed about human nature, unflinching in the face of evil, protective of your peace, but never losing the capacity for genuine connection, trust, and love that makes life worth living. The Dark Triad counts on your ignorance, your naivety, your willingness to see the best in people, even when the evidence screams otherwise. But you are no longer ignorant. You know their patterns. You know their tactics. You know their weaknesses. And you know your own strength. That's all for today. Stay dark, stay stoic. See you in the next one.